Welcome to Knit Together with Kim and Jonna. I'm Kim.
And I'm Jonna.
And we're back here at Pick Up Every Stitch, our favorite local yarn shop. And we'll thank Karen and Felicia again for letting us film here. It definitely makes our lives so much easier.
Oh, yes.
And
it's always clean here and tidy and well appointed.
And inspiring.
Yes.
So inspiring.
It's hard to leave here without a bag.
Today so far I've only bought a new cable for my interchangeable needles. I needed a longer one for one of my projects. But yeah, so far I just haven't let myself look around. Just put the blinders on, set up.
Every time I come in, I want to know what's new, but I do have an acquisition, so we'll talk about that at the end.
Yes, I have a few things. So we've taken it easier this summer, right?
Yeah.
As far as filming, we haven't really done mini-sodes, and we've done a few catch-up episodes, but not a lot. You did the last one.
You've been gone. You've been traveling.
Yes. So since our last episode, Jonna was supposed to go to Texas, but ended up not being able to go.
And it's been like 111 degrees in Texas, so honestly, it wasn't like, I was heartbroken not to see the kids, but I wasn't like devastated not to go,
Because the weather turned nice here. It got nice and cool in the evenings.
And I was looking up the statistics, so we've only had 5 days over 90 this summer.
Wow.
It's been a really, really wet, humid, rainy summer. We have not had our sprinklers on once. Mm-hmm. Sprinklers.
Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to water my hanging plants.
Oh.
They were looking very pitiful when I left. Oh, well. Anyway.
All right. So, no, I did not go to Texas, so that was a bummer. I missed the middle grandson's birthday. But I'm going in September because they're going on business trips, so I'm going to take care of the kids.
Yay!
Take them to school.
Grandma
do all the
time.
fun stuff.
Mimi time.
So, yeah, I'll make up for it.
So fun.
Yeah.
So in between, I also went to Canada, the off-the-grid cabin on the lake. You can't drive there. You take a boat, and that was heavenly. I'm not going to talk too much about it because we don't want this episode to be 3 hours long.
Right.
But it was lovely. No TV, no running water, no electricity. There is one solar panel attached to a battery, so you can charge your phone. And there is also propane tanks for the refrigerator and the stove. So we can cook. It's not really roughing it. It's definitely luxury, but the bathroom is an outhouse. But I spend the whole week knitting. I did a lot of knitting and crocheting, actually.
Oh, good.
I did some reading, which I'll talk about in a little bit. One thing I do want to mention, though, I asked my granddaughter, my 10-year-old granddaughter recently, she has become an avid reader, and I was an avid reader. Some of my very favorite books when I was a child were Mrs. Mike. Oh, it's such a sweet book. And, of course, I liked Island of the Blue Dolphins, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, all of those. But I asked my granddaughter recently what her all-time favorite book is so far. She's 10. And she said A Wolf Called Wander by Roseanne Perry. And so I asked if I could borrow it, and I brought it to Canada, and I read it. I have to say, I started it, and it was hard for me to get into it first, but then I picked it up again, and I stayed up way too late one night reading it by lantern light, and I could not put it down. It's just a lovely, lovely book. So A Wolf Called Wander, I highly recommend it. Nice. It's obviously like a young person's book.
Yeah, juvenile fiction.
Yeah, but really sweet.
William actually spent his birthday money on a Kindle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So I'll have to look for that one for him.
I think this book is loosely based on, they had put a tracker on a wolf, I think in Oregon, and based on their findings, she wrote a book, about his travels in a way.
Is it fiction?
It is, yes. But it's really sweet, just the way it's written. It's from the voice of the wolf.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's really sweet. So I did read a lot. I'll mention some other knitting books too, which I don't normally read knitting books. Do you?
No.
I don't either.
Unless it's Kate Davies. I try to buy all of her new books.
Oh, nice.
I mean, all of her books when they come out.
Yeah.
Her husband takes the photographs, and you learn about Scottish culture and see the beautiful Scottish landscape. And of course, she has beautiful patterns. So
yeah,
she's a good writer. So Otherwise, I just use them for reference.
Yeah. So, so I read books, and I also swim all the time. That's how you get clean. It's a crystal clear lake. I used to have a fear of diving, and between the first and the second time we went to Canada, which I can't even remember what year that was, maybe 2017 and 2018, or maybe 18 and 19, I took diving lessons because there's no wade in. You can't wade into the water. You either jump in or you dive in. And I wanted to learn how to dive. I had a fear of it since I was a child. So I took diving lessons, and I hadn't been up there during COVID. I don't have any other way to dive. So when I got up there, that first day, I just dove. I was so proud of myself. It's plenty deep. Don't worry about it. It's plenty deep.
Yeah.
And also I paddleboarded, which I learned how to do 2 years ago. And this year I wanted to learn how to canoe. I've also always had a fear of canoes and kayaks. And I actually got into a canoe, and I canoed by myself. And I almost got stuck in one of the coves because the wind was pushing the canoe back and back.
Wouldn't it be funny if canoeing was called like canoodling or something?
Yes.
That's something entirely different.
That is something entirely different. I wonder if anybody canoodles in the canoe. Anyway.
I'm sure.
But it's fun. It's just relaxing. So that was fun. Then we came back. I spent a week with my grandchildren, my 5 American grandchildren, doing fun things. And then last week, my hubby got sick. And we were supposed to go to Vermont last weekend. And we had to cancel because I caught whatever it was from my husband. It wasn't COVID. It wasn't strep. We were tested multiple times.
But you were really sick.
He was really sick. And I did not have as bad a case as he did. But I didn't know how it would be. And I obviously didn't want to be in a car with you for hours.
And I did not want to be in a car with her. So.
Or even in the Airbnb. So we just had to cancel.
I was bummed, though, because I was counting on that knitting time for sure.
Yeah. So that was a bummer.
Everybody's better.
Everybody's better.
A few quarts of soup later.
Yes, Jonna. That was so sweet. Jonna kept bringing me soup.
Well, normally I have soup at home, and I usually make chicken stock, but the chicken farmer didn't bring his chicken carcasses, and it's too hot to boil soup on the stove, even in a crock pot. So I went to the local diner in Thornwood. If you ever in the Thornwood area, go to Thornwood Diner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite places. So
yeah.
Anyway, good soup.
So if you go to Thornwood Diner, you might see Jonna there with her dad. They like to go there, right? You and your dad?
Yeah. I went at 7:30 in the morning because I had to be up in Connecticut at my daughter's house. And I said, I'd like a quart of chicken, I don't know, whatever, the chicken noodle or chicken rice. They're like, oh, it's 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, I know, but don't you have some like left over from the day before? And he's like, no, I only have 1 quart of beef barley. So I was like,
oh, it was so good.
Yeah, he said, come back at 11:30.
Yeah.
And the chef has to make it. So I was surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got tons of soup from Jonna.
Yeah, you did.
So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
But anyway, let's get on to the knitting.
Yeah.
Yes, there will be timestamps. Jonna is very good about putting timestamps in. So if you don't want to listen to all this banter,
update,
you can skip it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what we're wearing. What are you wearing?
I'm wearing my only FO, so I only have one FO. This is the Nightingale Crescent by Lucinda Iglesias. I think she's Canadian, so I think she works at a Canadian yarn shop. And if I'm wrong about that, you can put a little blurb.
I'll put a blurb under it, sure.
But I think that's true. Anyway, there was a shop sample, and I came in. I think it was after I canceled my trip to Texas, and I said, I'm just kind of floundering, sitting in waiting rooms with my dad, nothing to knit on that wasn't complicated, and I just need a pick-me-up. So everyone in the store is knitting one of these. And it's kind of like, I would say, like a ranunculus, but there's only one decorative stitch in the whole yoke. So once you learn the one decorative stitch, and there is a little video tutorial, then you're good to go. So, the ranunculus has many different decorative stitches. So if you're intimidated by the ranunculus, this is just definitely an easy knit. It is I knit mine in the Moondrake Fua Fua, which I learned is Japanese for fluff, is a Japanese fluffy pancake. So
so funny.
Yeah, and this is 70% cashmere, and I have it.
It's in the shelf there.
Somewhere. Oh yeah. Shoving our props in the yarn
shells.
So 70% brushed cashmere and 30% superwash merino in the color poppy. And there's 315 yards for 50 grams. So it's definitely lace weight. I held it single, which at first I was like, oh, why have I signed up for this again? Because I made the ranunculus out of a single strand of
mohair.
Yeah, silk mohair, and I did not enjoy knitting that at all. But this actually was fine. I knitted on metal needles. And, it's got a little bit of body and fuzz, and I didn't have any trouble at all. So anyway, and I was in here hemming and hawing about colors, and of course I wanted to pick out something, beige or gray or white or, something in my wheelhouse. But I was influenced, shall we say, to choose the red. So, and the whole time I'm knitting it, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to give this to my mother. I'm never going to wear this. This little voice, you don't have anything red in your wardrobe. Every time you wear red lipstick, you feel self-conscious. There's no way you're going to wear a red sweater. So the whole time I'm knitting this until I literally tried it on. I thought, I'm never going to wear this. I'm going to give it to my mom. But I tried it on, and I loved it, and my husband declared it sexy. So, of course, I was like, okay, I guess we're keeping it. I made the size 2, which has I didn't measure it, actually. I just blocked it today. So it has a 39-inch bust, or it's supposed to. I think my gauge is pretty on. It comes in 9 sizes. Is 1 to 9 9 sizes, or is 1 to 9 10 sizes? Yeah, anyway. Around there. So a bust size of 34 inches to 64 inches. So a wide size range. The recommended ease is 4 to 6 inches. And like I said, I chose the 39-inch bust, and my bust is about 35. So I knew there was going to be a little bit of ease, and there is. It fits perfectly. I'm very comfortable. It feels
9
like
sizes.
Yeah.
1.
9. Okay. That's right. 9 fingers. Duh.
I know.
Says the mathematician. Is that 9 or 10? Anyway, good thing.
It's fine.
Good thing you're here. The gauge is 18 stitches, and I have it in my notes that I'm on gauge, so I guess I am. And I fully expected to use both skeins of this because people in the store use both skeins for, similar size. But I have a lot left over. I weighed this. It weighs 81 grams.
Oh,
so
wow.
I used all of one, and then about 30 grams. So about half a skein left. So yeah, I really enjoyed working with it. It's pretty delicate. It didn't break at all. The second skein, I don't know if you can tell, there's a little bit of, a tan dye. So there's a little bit of variation in the second skein that wasn't in the first skein.
Or maybe you just didn't notice it because it was in
that's
the
what I was
color work.
thinking.
In the lace.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. But I don't know. I didn't notice it until I started with the second skein. So it's fine. No biggie.
It's beautiful. It's really stunning.
Thank
the color,
you.
everything.
It's a very blue-red, so I think that's helpful.
It's really
It's not an orange red.
No.
I think if it were orangey, I might feel differently about it. But this Moondrake Fua, and the Corriedale comes in corresponding color. So there is a Corriedale DK, I think, that's also in poppy. Just beautiful, beautiful colors. I saw Stacy Elstone from Stress Knits making a big long scarf out of Birdie or Big Birdie. And this would be beautiful for that. Anyway, so let me just finish the details of the sweater before I lose all track. So let's see, construction. So it has a top-down construction, and I did use the recommended needles. So I use a US 3, which is a 3.25 millimeter, and then the lace and the body is knit on a US size 7, which is a 4.5 millimeter. And it's just top down, 1 by 1 rib, and then you start the circular yoke. So there's increases just spread evenly throughout the yoke. And the little decorative stitches are sort of off center, so it's almost like looks a little bit like a spiral. Yeah, so they don't stack vertically, so they're almost like a spiral. Once you learn that one decorative stitch, you're good to go. I split for the sleeves and then knit the body to 11 inches. So from my underarm to the hem was about 11 inches, and I actually measured my cumulus tee. So because I really like the length of my cumulus tee, which I've worn a lot, I can report that the yarn has completely held up. No pilling. I really, really love that garment. So, yeah, so I'm really happy with the length. And I washed it this morning. So I blocked it for like, I don't know, 20 minutes. And, you know, rolled it up in a towel and stepped on it. And then hung it on a hanger. And our sunroom has a big ceiling fan. And it was dry in literally 10 minutes.
Wow.
Which is a good thing. Otherwise, I'd be wearing something else. I do have a question, though. So there's an I-cord bind-off on the sleeve. And the sleeves are really short, so you need a few rows, and then you do an I-cord bind-off. And there's an I-cord bind-off on the hem. But there's a hello. In the directions, it says, you know, row 1 of the I-cord, like, you know, knit 2 together through the back loop. Mm-hmm. And it didn't, typically when I did an I-cord, you cast on stitches
mm-hmm.
before you start
right.
knitting.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't say to cast on stitches. So
mm-hmm.
I thought, is this a mistake? You know, what should I do? And I started knitting the I-cord and I'm thinking, just trust the pattern, you know, everything's going to be fine. There must be a reason. But I do think that that is a mistake. And for the sleeves, I did cast on 3 stitches. It's a 2-stitch I-cord. Mm-hmm. I cast on 3 stitches. You know, because you need that little tail. Otherwise, it kind of stitches together.
Yeah.
And it's on the hem, so I don't really care.
And then it's easier to graft if you have.
Yes, exactly.
Huh. Interesting.
You know, you have stitches to graft. And so I'm getting good at grafting I-cord. It seems like everything I've made lately has tons of I-cord on it. So, yeah, I would definitely cast on those stitches if you end up making this pattern. I was listening to Jonathan from Jonathan's Days, mm-hmm. and he just made a tank, and I can't remember the name of it, but it had a ton of I-cord on it. And he mentioned that Very Pink Knits has an I-cord tutorial video that isn't tight. So I always worry about I-cord being too tight because mm-hmm. it doesn't have any stretch to it at all, really. Mm-hmm. And I think it involves some yarn overs or different kind of or slipping, you know, bind one off, like slip a stitch over another stitch. So I guess it gives it a little bit more, not ease, but
stretchiness.
I don't know if it gives it a little bit more, maybe a little bit more ease, you know, not in a fluttery, you know, kind of wavy, problematic way, but just not uber tight.
Right.
So anyway, I haven't checked that out, but he did mention that, so I just wanted to throw that out there. So very beginner friendly pattern. There are no short rows in the back, and so I was a little worried about that.
Yeah.
But
the neckline looks beautiful.
No, neckline's fine. So yeah, it actually fits really well. And I'm pleasantly surprised that I like red.
I love it. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
You have one hair.
Anyway.
There you go.
Thank you.
Never happens to me.
No. And that's why you don't like long hair, is because you don't like it
on my forehead.
On your forehead, or God forbid it's on the back of your neck.
Touching me.
Then you'd be really
nuts. Oh my goodness.
That's why I just walk around with an elastic.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Nice.
Yeah.
So fun. Well, it's
That's
really beautiful.
Now we'll sit down and I'll just get comfortable and listen to you talk for the next little bit. You have a ton of finished objects.
Yeah, Jonna you haven't had a lot of
knitting.
You've really taken the summer off, like knitting and everything, spending a lot of time with family. And
yeah.
That's nice.
I haven't been out of town. Summer's busy. You know, I hear Erynn and Carlos talk about, you know, summer in Norway. They have very long days, even longer days than we do.
Right.
And they just, you know, pack them full and go to bed late and wake up early. But in the wintertime, you know, they go to bed early and it's almost like hibernation in a way.
Right, yeah.
So I feel like our summer days are just packed with activities
mm-hmm.
and you know, being outside. And so anyway, not a lot of knitting time.
And I've been traveling a lot.
Well, and I live with a raccoon. That is another reason I have less knitting time.
Oh, Teddy?
Yeah, a raccoon named Teddy.
It's not really. If you're a new viewer, it's not really a raccoon.
No, he's a raccoon who barks. But anyway.
So funny.
He's growing on me. So,
yeah.
Yeah. He's super cuddly in the morning, so he's a lot of fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I've had a lot of knitting time because I've traveled a lot and my husband is now allowed to drive.
Nice.
So
that you
helps.
can knit in the car?
Yeah, all the traveling, a lot of it, he drove.
Oh,
yay.
Nice.
So I am wearing, I forgot to write it down, my Freya tee by Florence Spurling that I made last summer. And I'm really not going to talk about the details. They're in my Ravelry. And also, if you look back at episode 11, I think, I'm wearing it in episode 11. So you can go back and hear the details about it. But it was made in MarinJaKnits, which is the cotton blend. And the one really fun part about it was the mohair I bought on a visit to my son in Bordeaux.
Mm-hmm.
I went to La Droguerie and I bought the mohair there. And it's a fun little story about how you buy the yarn there. So if you want to go back and watch it, you can. Episode 11.
Maybe you can link it up there.
I can, maybe.
And the blue matches her hair.
It does.
Almost exactly.
I have to say, I like the color right now, but it's going to fade to green. I know it.
I really like it.
It has more yellow in it.
Yeah, more yellow. It's very turquoisey.
So it's probably going to look like pea soup in a month.
That's why I usually don't do blue, because you're worried about the green.
I did it one other time, and I did
it fade to green.
To like pea soup, yeah. Anyway, so I'll probably have to put another rinse over it in a month. But I love this top, and one thing that I realized when I put it on today, though, is I've gotten better at making garments that fit me. It is huge.
Well, and do you think that this yarn has stretched?
I don't know.
With some wearing? Like you haven't
I haven't worn it. I haven't worn it. I've only worn it like last summer. Put it away, and I took it out, and it just is huge. I should have made a smaller size.
Yeah.
But it's still gorgeous. I mean, I love wearing it. It's really beautiful, but it's really big. It probably would have been better one size smaller. And honestly, I don't even know what size I made. You can go look at my Ravelry. It's all in there. So that's what I'm wearing. That's it. So finished objects.
Oh, I already talked about mine. I'm good. I'm good. I told you I'm just getting comfortable. I'm going to let you talk.
Oh, gosh. So I really only have one finished object, really. And it's my, let me put this down without losing stitches. It's my Solare, or Solar, which I talked about, or Solare, who knows how you want to say it, by Locatelli. And most of the details, again, I talked about in episode 20 last time. But there's, I can't even remember where I was at. Where was I at knitting it then? I don't even remember.
I don't think you were too much past the sleeve separation.
Really? I don't even remember. But a lot of things have happened. Things with this. Well, not a lot. One main thing. So it's Locatelli designed this for the Mayak retreat that I was blessed to go to in June. And it's in Baby, oh my goodness, I typed all this wrong. Mayak Baby Yak Medium in the color Oatmeal, which is the undyed natural color. And I have to say, after knitting this, oh look, there's blue on it from something. I wonder if it's from my
hair.
Maybe from my hair. My hair stains everything, so I'll have to try to get that out on the back.
That's nice, it's on the back.
But I have to say, this has to be my favorite yarn I've ever knit with in my entire life.
I mean, I can't believe that you didn't hold mohair with it.
I didn't.
It's so fuzzy and
has such a beautiful halo.
It's so different than the other colors. The dyed colors.
I guess, lose their halo. But this yarn is just insanely gorgeous. I cannot wait to wear this. It's too warm today.
It's very heavy.
It is heavy, and it fits me perfectly. So
just,
I was tempted.
I'm having sweater envy.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. But let me tell you about it. I bought 8 balls. The kit for the retreat came with 8 balls. Since then, they have added 1 ball to the suggestion in the pattern.
Yarn.
And that's a whole other little story that I did talk about in my catch up episode in July, but I'll talk about it very quickly. So I used a US 6 and 4. It was suggested 5 and 3, which is the needle I used was a 4 millimeter and a 3.5 millimeter. And the pattern comes in 10 sizes, from 30-inch finished bust to 65.5-inch finished bust. It suggests 2 to 4 inches of positive ease, and I chose size 5 based on my gauge. I was kind of between sizes. So I chose size 5 because I was between 4 and 5, the size I wanted to knit.
So you went up?
Yeah. Again, because I'm getting better at choosing sizes as well. This fits absolutely perfectly. I will try to take pictures and put them in my Ravelry, but I don't even know. Maybe on a cool morning or a cool evening. So all the gauge details and more of the size choices in episode 20. I did cast on at the Mayak retreat, even though I was still finishing another Hohi sweater. So I started it on June 14th, and I finished it about 2 months later because I put it down after I left Italy and finished my sparkle cardigan. It's a top down. The neckline is a 3x2 rib. It's the first time I've ever knitted a sweater where there's short rows in the rib, in the yoke, and underneath the yoke.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She does wrap and turns, and for some silly reason I wanted to switch them to German short rows, and it worked out fine, but I had to investigate and figure out how to do that. I knit the body to 12.5 inches and then 1.5 inches of rib, but I finished the body and suddenly realized I was not going to have enough yarn. And I did knit, normally for, you know, any pattern, they include enough yarn for a swatch in the totals. But for the retreat, we were asked to knit 2 swatches. So I still, even with only 1 swatch, I wouldn't have had enough. That's why they increased to 9 balls for the suggested amount. But I was about to start the sleeves, and I weighed my leftover yarn and my swatches, and it was 90 grams. And without my swatches, because I figured I could rip out my swatches if I had to, but I really didn't want to.
Yeah.
Without my swatches, I only had 58 grams for long sleeves. And people said, knit short sleeves. For this heavy of a sweater,
Yeah.
And I don't really like wearing short sleeves, especially, I mean, you can't tell, but I have a total, like, golfer's tan.
A farmer's tan.
A farmer's tan. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Luckily, this covers it up. So I, 58 grams divided in 2 is approximately, okay, gosh, I can't, 28 grams, you know, a little less. And so I knit the first sleeve to 28 grams, and I had just put it on, what's the thing called? The cord?
Barber.
Yeah, a barber cord.
Barber cord.
Because I thought I would knit the other sleeve with the other half of the yarn I had. This is the reason why. I already knew when we were in Italy. There goes the AC. So we'll see if our new sound configuration is working.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we've been having issues with our sound. And I realized it's because I didn't really know how the mic worked. I used to just plug it in and turn it on. And I think at some point I put it on a different setting. There's really only 5 options on the mic itself. And unfortunately, I think I put it on the noisiest option. And so since our last video, which when I listened to it, I thought we were going to have to throw it in the garbage.
I thought our little fuzzy rat thing was going to solve the problem, but no.
We got this cover, and we thought that would help. It's mainly the air conditioning and the background noise. But after I watched that video, edited it, I was able to get some of the noise out with iMovie. But there's no way we could have recorded it again. No. So we just used it. Sorry, we're amateurs. It is what it is. Thank you for still watching. Since then, I've figured out that it's too much information, but I can turn down the volume of the mic in the camera itself to the bare minimum, and then use the adjustments correctly that are on the microphone. So this should be better. Hopefully, but the AC just went on, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to what I was talking about. So I was going to knit the other sleeve to the same length, but I knew already from the retreat that they had sold out of oatmeal. I already knew they had sold out of oatmeal. And they only have, it was funny, Paola posted a really cute video of the yak in Tibet. And the whole entire herd that was running by was black, and the very last one was this light color.
Which is why they run out.
They run out. Yeah. Each year they harvest the fiber, and they get as much of this light color as they get, and they can't make more because it's the natural color. Anyway, so I figured they sold out, but maybe a store had it. So I checked Pick Up Every Stitch. They didn't have that dye lot, and in this case, it's a huge difference.
Because it's a different animal.
Different animal. Just, it's so different.
Yeah.
So I was looking all over for the dye lot. I asked Paola, and she suggested Wool & Company. So it was a Sunday. I sent them an email. I did not expect them to look at it. I ended up going to Brooklyn General because they carry Mayak. And Catherine walked in the door when I was there. She's the owner. I had never really met her. But she walked in the door. They did not have this weight yarn in the right color, but she remembered that they had baby yak lace weight, which if you look at this yarn, I can't remember how many strands. Two strands. Is it 2 or 3 strands? She thought maybe I could fudge it that way, and the dye lot was only 1 number off, so we think it was the same year, the same animals, but just 2 different weights. So it was really close. So I bought 2 balls or hanks of that. In the meantime, I also posted on Instagram, and one of our viewers came to the rescue.
Rachel,
thank you, Rachel. Rachel was placing an order at Wool & Company, and I hadn't even mentioned Wool & Company in my post, but and that's where Paula suggested, and she noticed that they had 6 hanks of the oatmeal.
Oh, wow.
And so she said, do you still need it? She messaged me, do you still need it? I said, yes, this is my dye lot. So the next morning, I was like hoping and praying all night that it would be the right, because I hadn't started the second sleeve yet. So she messages me in the morning, they have your exact dye lot.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. So she ordered me 2 hanks, which got me through, and she had it sent to me. So Rachel, thank you so much. You saved my sweater. So then I was able to take the first sleeve off of the barber cords and finish that sleeve, and then I waited for the yarn, and then I was able to finish the sweater. I started some other things in between because I had to wait a little bit, and then I was able to finish it. So yeah, Rachel definitely saved the day, and Wool & Company. Thank you. My finished measurements of the sweater, I think I've mentioned my high bust is 40.5 and my full bust is 44. So the finished sweater is 44 inches, and it just fits me. I think it's the best fitting sweater I've ever knit. The back measurement the body measurement from the underarm is 15 inches and the sleeve is 19.25 inches. And I just absolutely love it. And if you want to borrow an oversized sweater, I'm so annoyed that there's like blue on the back.
She just washed her hair for the first time, and
my fingers are blue. And I wonder if I touched it.
Blue.
It's so weird. I don't think it was in the yarn. Does it look like it's in the yarn? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Yeah. But it's gorgeous anyway.
There's one natural colored yak running around in Tibet with 1 blue spot.
Exactly. But it's perfect.
Yeah.
Because it was 3x2 rib.
Envy.
I just did kind of a regular, not a traditional bind off, but knit or purl 2 stitches and then knit them together through the back loop, and it worked out fine.
I love the long cuffs.
And I just long cuffs. I did it exactly as Hoagie
It is super squishy.
Yeah. It's gorgeous. So anyway,
next time I see some of that yarn, I'm buying it.
Yeah, and this is all I have left over from the second ball, the 2 balls that Rachel got for me. So happy. But anyway, that's it.
Works in progress?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
I would just want to quickly mention that in the show notes, we'll have all the information on the samples.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, should we talk about the samples?
Sure, we can do the samples now.
I actually talked about this sweater in my catch-up episode, and it's called the Yuki No Hai No, which means snowy day in Japanese, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's in the Lina magazine?
It is. Lina magazine, winter 2023. Yuki no Hai no, and it means on a snowy day in Japanese. And I saw this on Felicia and thought, okay, I need that sweater, I need that cardigan. So this one's knit in Le Garçon yarn. I'm not sure exactly which yarn of theirs. And this little contrast is Julie Aslin Boucle, but oh my goodness. Anyway, this is in my queue. I did buy the suggested yarn for it, which is Biche Bouche Le Gros Mohair.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a must this fall for me anyway. We are going to do a fall video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just talk about what our plans are and things. So that's something to look forward to. And yeah, so all the information on the samples will be in the show notes.
Yeah. The shawl is The Big Easy by Melanie Berg. And it's knit in
Pasquale Filati Naturali Balayage.
Yes. And the cardigan under it we talked about in a previous episode. So it's the Olive by Knitting for Olive. You can look at the thumbnails and find that episode and find out more about that. And then in the background, the striped sweater, I think you can see it, is Karen's worsted version of her tweed tee, and it's called Erynn, I think. And so that's a lovely option if you want a worsted. And then also the reason I set up in this corner is the baby corner. And I've just been so excited for Jonna with her new granddaughter.
Yeah.
I thought, let's set up in the baby corner.
Aww.
So that's why we're here.
I know, and it's hard to think about knitting anything for her just because it's so hot. But winter is coming.
Yes,
so.
exactly.
Yeah.
So works in progress.
All right, I guess I'll talk about what's in my lap.
Sure.
Because I need some help, so feel free to comment below. So I cast on the Kutar top, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And that just is it's a little bit too involved for my lifestyle right now. I used to joke that, you know, a yarn and a pattern sometimes don't have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like yarn, a pattern, your frame of mind, and just your
Life
lifestyle.
circumstances,
Yeah,
yeah.
circumstances. So, you know, sometimes you just want something relaxing. And that's for me. You know, when I think about knitting, I mean, I love beautiful sweaters, but for me, it really is it's a process, you know, and sometimes I just want to knit around and around. So anyway, you know, that I continue my love affair with Petite Knit, and she came out with the Audrey top, and I think it's a new pattern this summer, and it's knit from the bottom up, so it's just a tube of stockinette, and then there are some decreases, and then you knit the front and back separately after you split where the armholes are. And then there's just a little bit of I-cord for straps. And I just thought, okay, this suits my frame of mind.
Mm-hmm.
It suits my availability. And I have some 100% linen yarn that I think will be perfect. So it's a DK weight pattern, but she suggests several fingering weight yarns held double, like knitting for olive, pure silk. But I had this long yarns lino, and I knew that a couple people in the store had used it and loved it. And so I thought, okay, this will be perfect. It's not black, it's
Looks
white,
like
and it's
eggplant.
called Pebble,
Okay.
and it's like a
grayish.
it's like a grayish brownish purple.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So kind of neutral. I think it's kind of neutral.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this in stash and had the right amount, and I was super excited to cast on. So I have them on my Licka driftwood needles. So let me see where I have my things out of order. So it's knit on a US 2.5 and a US 6. So I think the 2.5 must come later because I've got my 6s going right now. So that is a 4 millimeter. I obviously have to remember, like, US 6 is 4 millimeter. Like, that's kind of like a benchmark. So it was funny. I came today with a printed out knitting needles sizes conversion chart. So I've got the metric, the US, the UK, and then the crochet hooks. So, and it's funny. She's like, oh, I printed out the same thing.
Like literally today was the first time I meant to last time, but I couldn't get my printer to work.
Oh.
So she said, I printed out the conversion chart.
Yeah.
And I said,
So now we'll always know and not guess.
yeah, it's taped to the...
For the life of me, I can remember that a US 1 is 2.25 because I use that for socks.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else is just, you know,
yeah,
it's fair game. So, yeah, so I cast on a bunch of stitches, as you can see, with my US 6. And I think I just did a regular long tail cast on for stability because I didn't need any stretch at the bottom. And it's just a raw hem. So there's no I-cord at the bottom.
Roll
it's just,
a little bit.
Yeah, super easy. So, but I have a problem. The problem is this 100% linen yarn is a tape yarn. And so it's literally flat.
Mm.
And you can see it just twists something awful.
Oh, gosh.
So I have tried, from the outside of it comes in little balls. I think I brought one. Yeah. It comes in these cute little balls.
Those are called donuts, I think.
Okay. They're called donuts.
I only know because I teach kids knitting. It's one of our lessons.
And am I lying by saying this is 100% linen? No, I'm not. Okay. So 100% linen, tape yarn. And this is 120 yards for 50 grams. The gauge is 20 stitches. And I'm getting gauge, so it's all good. However, I'm having trouble knitting with it, and it's not super enjoyable. So I started pulling from the outside. I haven't pulled from the inside. So I pulled from the outside, and then I took the other end of the yarn from the inside and wound it into a ball, put it in a bowl on the floor, and just thinking if I just pull out, you know, long pieces of yarn, it will untangle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that didn't work either. And so I actually just took all the yarn out of the ball and just coiled it up in my knitting bowl, thinking it will, uncoil as I pull it out. No. So if you have any suggestions for knitting with tape yarn.
Annoying, but I did this with a project I was knitting.
I mean, you can see it. It's all.
I know, but I would go like this every once in a while.
I've done that.
But it's not even untwisting.
No. Okay. So I have to spin it.
I don't have a suggestion.
Yeah, and so
because you don't want it to twist up.
And pull out a big length, and I'll just kind of try to straighten it out. So, I'm thinking, oh, should I just jump ship and use different yarn? I've got a good 4 inches here. 3 or 4 inches.
Well, definitely comment, and even when we're done filming, maybe you can ask Karen.
Yeah. So, well, I've asked Karen, I've asked Felicia.
Oh, what did they say?
And Beth uses to make a ranunculus and then another sweater, and she just loved it. She's a thrower, and I knit continental, so I don't know. I need help though. So the Audrey top it comes in sizes XXS to 5XL. Now I don't remember how many sizes that actually was, but from a bust of 31.5 inches to 59 inches. Recommended ease is 0 to 2 inches. And I'm making the size small, which is a bust of 33.5 to 35.5. So I'm kind of right in the middle there. And I've really wanted in my wardrobe. I think it's going to be beautiful. It's got this almost like a racer back in the back. Mm-hmm. I'm a little concerned about the bra situation, like how deep the armholes are, and what kind of bra I can wear with it. Definitely a strapless bra because there's just no bra strap coverage at all. So just little I-cord spaghetti straps. But I think that I can adjust when you split this panel, the front panel and the back panel. I think I can adjust the length of that before I do the I-cord.
You can measure your gauge, your row gauge, from up to there,
right,
and then
just calculate how
figure out how many rows she has in the pattern, and then just adjust the rows. And if there's increases, or it would be decreases. Then you can just adjust those.
Yeah. I was watching Amy from Knits, NE_knits, her YouTube channel, and she's an engineer, so I just thought that this was brilliant. So you know how if you knit an I-cord to a certain length and then you wear that garment, the I-cord invariably stretches, right? So she, in her brilliant mind, decided to take a length of yarn and anchor it at the beginning of one strap and thread it through the I-cord tube and anchor it on the other strap so that the I-cord strap had some, she called it rebar, rebar for knitting.
Yeah.
I thought, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's so smart.
Anyway, thank you, Amy, for mentioning that. Another one of my, it sounds like I watch a lot of podcasts. I don't because I just don't have any time to sit and knit, but I watch a lot of different podcasts. I probably follow 50 or more podcasters. So I love it when, I guess I like variety, except for when It's a Sarah comes on, then everything stops and I watch It's a Sarah. So I kind of stalk her Monday and Friday episodes, truth be told. But
she does 2 episodes a week?
2 episodes a week.
And does she do one in another language too?
She does some housekeeping videos, little short videos on her YouTube. So no, she has another Instagram that's just for housekeeping. Okay. And it's just, she takes 15 minutes every day to do some kind of housekeeping project.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So I just recently organized the hall closet and got rid of all the weird medical
all the stuff
oddities and all that weird stuff is we don't need this anymore, and the poison ivy lotion that's 9 years old,
right?
And anyway, so I like those little projects too. So so she does that also.
Wow.
Yeah, and she does a lot of knitting.
It's hard enough for us to knit one episode. I mean, not knit, I'm sorry, film one episode a month.
I know, so I'm always impressed. And she does 2 episodes a week, and in Dutch and English.
Right,
so she does 4 episodes a week.
It's crazy. Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, so I do watch a lot of different podcasts. So yeah, I guess I'm done talking about my Audrey top by Petite Knit. And we maybe have some interesting Petite Knit news, hopefully in our fall video.
Let's just say it.
Okay. So Rachel, again, from Massachusetts,
The one who saved me and got me the yarn.
Saved her, wanted to, I don't know, we were talking on Instagram, and she said that she really loved the Storm sweater by Petite Knit that just came out. And so I looked at that, and we had talked about doing a knit along. And
we're not big knit along people just because we don't participate in knit alongs, really.
Right. True story. And it's just, knit alongs are a lot. I mean, I guess our knit along that we participated in last summer, it was a lot of work. We don't have to make it as complicated as that. But
no.
Yeah. So everyone knows I'm a big Petite Knit fan. And honestly, if that's all I could knit for the rest of my life, I'd be perfectly happy. Just love all those basic staples and solid colors. Like, that's my jam. So I don't know if it was Rachel who suggested it or me. I can't remember. But we're having a Petite Knit along. We know nothing about the details because we haven't even discussed it. But
we're going to do that.
Other than it's
so start picking out your pattern and pick out your yarn. And
we'll have some suggestions, some things that I have my eye on.
Yep, I don't have my eye on anything yet. I've always wanted to knit the April cardigan that you did. I've only knit one Petite Knit before, and it was the novice cardigan.
Which is pretty basic.
Yeah, pretty basic.
Beautiful, beautiful cardigans. Yeah. Like the Jenny cardigan with texture all over, smocky.
So I haven't even thought about it. But we're going to film, in September, we're going to get back to filming mini-sodes. So normally we do one episode a month and one mini-sode, and then if we have time, a catch episode on the off weeks. So we're going to do a mini-sode in September after this airs at some point, and talk about our fall plans. And by then we'll know all the details about the Petite
Knit along.
Petite Knit.
Petite Knit KAL.
Yes. So wow, the phone is really going today.
Hopefully that's the only noise you hear, though.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We're in a shop. Whenever we apologize, everyone says, "We get it. You're in a shop. We love that you're in a shop." Yeah, it's a great place. So the phone will ring. So I have a few whips, and I really don't want to spend too much time on them because I definitely go over more of the details once it's finished, right? And we know me. I usually, my MO is buy a pattern, buy yarn, knit it. I usually don't have multiple things going on at the same time. And I've gotten back to that. So a lot of people say, wow, you knit so fast. I do knit fast, but also I knit on one thing until it's done. And so, yeah. So when I was waiting for the Mayak yarn to come in, before vacation, it literally came in the day before I left for vacation to Canada. And the trip to Canada is an 11-hour drive. We do split it up, and we stop in the Adirondacks overnight and then continue. So it's a lot of driving. And I think I was working on this in the car. So I shared this. When did I share this? In episode 20.
So little. Oh my goodness. It's smaller than I expected.
Yes, and it's a little smaller. I mean, it isn't, because I'll tell you my thinking.
It isn't compared to the baby. She is just between like 11 and 12 pounds, I think. Now.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
She's about 6 weeks old.
Yeah.
So she's a slimmer baby. She's not. My babies were fat. My babies were big.
I was hoping she was smaller. So this is the Kensi embroidered cardigan and the bonnet, the matching bonnet by Julie Taylor, who is Love Fibers. And I'm knitting it in Laine du Nord Echo Baby, which is 100% mulesing. I realized I pronounced it incorrectly in the last video. I put an extra L in. It's mulesing free wool.
Oh my goodness. It's just expertly knit, as you can imagine.
So I was saying it's 100% mulesing free wool. Mulesing is a kind of a procedure that is very controversial that's done to sheep. You can Google it. mulesing. But this is mulesing free wool, and I bought it at North Fork Fiber Arts. I bought 3 balls of this pink color. I knit the cardigan and the bonnet in a US 7 and 5, which is 4.5 millimeter and 3.75 millimeter. It's suggested a 6 and a 4, so I did do a gauge swatch. I kind of got an in-between gauge, so I decided to make, the sizes come, I didn't even write down how many sizes, but there's obviously a newborn and maybe 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 12, and so on. I didn't really want a 12-month-old sweater because this baby lives in Texas, and that would be a July.
Right.
So I wanted in between a 3 to 6 and a 6 to 12.
Mm-hmm. That'll be perfect.
Right? So my gauge was a little different. So I decided to do the 6 to 12 thinking it would be a little smaller, and it is. Mm. I did my final measurements today, and they're kind of between the 3 to 6 and the 6 to 12, so hopefully it'll fit this winter.
It's very drapey.
It's very drapey. I have to say, I didn't mind knitting with this yarn, but it shows every imperfection. Every single, it is not, it's lovely, it's soft, it's beautiful, and I'm a pretty even knitter.
But when you're knitting back and forth, you're purling one side and knitting the other side, it's hard.
Yeah, but even so, to me, yeah, I mean, it's still beautiful. It's hand knit. It's gorgeous. So,
it's beautiful.
But it definitely, even after blocking, you can see the stitches are different, sizes.
No mercy.
No mercy in this yarn. But let's see. Yeah, so I'm knitting the 6 to 12 month, or I knitted. So this is not really a finished object because there's embroidery is going to go on it. And I haven't done the embroidery yet. I did get buttons here. I came in to ask some questions, and even for my sparkle cardigan, I don't know why they don't have that many buttons here, but every time they have the most gorgeous.
Wow, they match perfectly.
I mean, seriously.
They're beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
It's just gorgeous. I haven't put the buttons on yet. I did start it before I went on vacation because I was waiting for the yarn. I knit it on the way up. I finished it up in Canada. I blocked it in the water in the lake. So it's not a true blocking, really, and I would normally block it with the buttons on. So I have to reblock it. And then I started the bonnet the next day. Finished that in one day because it's super easy. Blocked that in the lake. And it's just adorable. So we'll insert pictures. My finished measurements at the current block are 20-inch chest. And the length is measured from the center back, not the underarm. It's 11 inches, and the sleeve is 6.5 inches from the underarm. And then the hat, again, I measure. It really is looks like a 6-month-old, in between the two sizes. Mm-hmm. The hat head circumference is 12 inches, and she said to measure it from the attachment of the I-cord to the attachment.
The I-cord is just perfect. Do you really snug up your, sometimes when I do I-cord, there'll be one bulgy stitch.
I don't know.
One loose stitch.
But I don't love how where they're attached is exactly perfect, but nobody will ever notice.
No. Oh my goodness.
But the perfectionist in me is tempted to take them off and redo it, but I'm not going to. But the bonnet is adorable.
I can't wait to see her in it.
I'll insert pictures. But I did do a practice run on the embroidery last week, but again with my blue hair, now I'm afraid. I didn't mind doing this, so I'm going to wait until my hair stops fading. But you're going there in September, so I have
September 11th.
I have to have it done by then. But I had not done embroidery since I was a young child. So I actually came in here one day because you're supposed to use water-soluble stabilizer to trace the pattern, the decoration on, the design, and then you pin that onto the sweater and the bonnet, and then you embroider through that on the outside and through the fabric, obviously. And then you trim it down to as close to the embroidery as you can, and then you literally put it in water and it dissolves. It's amazing. But I couldn't find the exact one she suggested, and I've never used it before. I came in here and I asked, I think Claudia was here, and she looked at the two options that I had and she told me which one to use, and that is what I use. I have to say though, it's hard to embroider because it's really flimsy. You can't put a sweater in an embroidery ring.
Right. And
the stabilizer, it doesn't really stabilize the fabric. You're trying to unwind it. So I have to say it definitely is a labor of love. So I need a day when I can sit in nice daylight in my kitchen, bright lights, flat surface, no blue hands, to be able to embroider this. But
it's an heirloom. It's just beautiful.
It's so cute. But the stitches, the embroidery stitches are, I'll insert a picture. Satin stitch, I had to Google it. I couldn't remember how to do it. French knots, I kind of remembered how to do them, but they came out great, right?
Oh, it's just beautiful.
Lazy Daisy stitches, which I think I had looked at some knitting videos somewhat recently. A lot of people have been doing embroidery on knitwear, so I had seen Lazy Daisy. And then the split stitch, which I forgot how to do, but it looks so cute. It looks like a little chain.
Oh, I wondered what that was.
Yeah, so it's split stitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really, I'm really excited about it.
It's a gorgeous pink.
It is.
It's
Antique-y. It looks like a Jonna pink to me.
It is. It's just beautiful. And she has dark hair and dark eyes.
Yeah.
I think they're blue, but they're really dark. So she's gonna look beautiful.
Yay!
So I know they are gonna love it.
So it's almost a finished object.
They're gonna love it.
Yeah.
I'll take a video when I give it to them so you can see.
Yay!
So that's always the best part when you see somebody open a handmade gift.
Yes, and then pictures of the
And
baby
they will love
wearing
it. They're very. They're gonna love it.
Yeah. Yay! I hope so.
Very appreciative.
So excited.
Yeah.
So the embroidery, by the way, the yarn for the embroidery, I also bought at North Fork Fiber Arts. I wanted an antique white.
Mm-hmm.
The Echo Baby white was too like stark white.
Mm.
So I bought Manos del Uruguay Alegria, and it's 75% superwash merino and 25% polyamide. I was worried if I buy, like I'm assuming the Echo
Right.
Baby, I think it's still hand wash, but I didn't want something that was like really gonna like shrink up or be scratchy or anything. And this is really beautiful. It's really soft.
It's sock yarn.
Yes, it's gorgeous. So all I have to do is sew on the buttons, reblock it, then embroider, and then technically reblock it again because I have to soak it to get the
And do
embroidery.
you have to make the buttonholes? Oh no, you've made the buttonholes.
They're in
there
there.
are buttonholes.
There are.
So beautiful.
Yeah. It's a great pattern,
Thank you.
very clear, very easy to understand, very easy to follow. So I highly, highly recommend the Kensi embroidered cardigan and bonnet. And I am going to knit one for a boy without the flowers, without the embroidery, in green for my friend
Okay.
Florence, who also had another grandchild this year. So
Did you magic loop the sleeves?
I did. Did I? Yes, I did. I always
Tiny.
magic loop.
Itty bitty little skinny baby.
Yes,
sleeves.
I mean it was a really fast knit. I did it in, and I was also doing my what's it called? My crochet blanket.
Mm.
So it kind of was doing both,
Mm-hmm.
but I did it in less than a week. Obviously, the baby cardigan.
Wow.
But yeah,
Thank
so yay! I know, I'm so excited.
I love it.
Yay. Okay, so do you have any more works in progress?
I do. All right. So I cast on the Kutar top after seeing it on several podcasts. So Hella from Danish Musings has made it. Amy from Knits has made it. And it's just a gorgeous tank. And I've had my eye on it for a while. I actually have this Trio 2 yarn. I had this in stash because, of course, typical Jonna fashion, I bought this for something else and didn't make that thing.
That's okay.
But I feel like everything in my stash sort of has to, like, everything has a season, everything has a time. Like, it just wasn't its time yet. So I did have this, and I have to say, I love this yarn. At first, I thought, oh, it's really, like, straw-like,
Mhm.
pretty stiff. It's 50% linen, 30% cotton, and 20% lyocell. And it's got this sheen to it. It's very pleasant to knit with.
It looks kind of
surprisingly.
stringy.
It
but
does
it's
look stringy.
beautiful.
It is. It's really, really beautiful. So this is by Isair Trio 2, made in Italy. And this is I want to say it's white. Yeah, color is white. It's sort of an off-white, though.
It is. Yeah.
It's not a white. Anyway, I had that in stash. And so I got a bee in my bonnet, as my dad will say. This is the Kutar top, or all I have of it, by Sari Nordland. And I'm knitting it on a US 2.5 and a US 4. So I'm on the 2.5 needles right now. Right? You know that I cannot read.
I can't
yeah,
read
they're the 2.5.
the chow goos or so
The
hard.
chow goos are really hard to read, and
Mhm.
the glare from the shiny metal
Mhm.
and my glasses and the lights, forget it. Anyway, so I'm on the US 2.5. So you cast on with a provisional cast on, and this was cool. So I didn't use the provisional cast on that she recommended in the pattern. So I just Googled it or went on YouTube and typed in provisional cast on. And I used the barber cord, and I talked about this in my episode a little bit. I used the barber cord as my waste yarn. So, hypothetically, I'm just going to slip my needle tip into the end and pull it through my provisional stitches. So I am very excited because I haven't done a lot of provisional cast-ons, and I tend to skip over patterns that have them. And anyway, I love this knitting cord, kind of the generic term for it. So I'll put a link for some knitting cord that you can buy from Twice Sheared Sheep in the description box, which, you know, is one of our affiliates. But you can get it anywhere. So I've seen it in, I think, every knitting shop probably carries this now. So I'm making the size 3, which is, it's interesting. The size 2, the bust circumference is 32.5, and then the size 3, it's 36.5. So there's 4-inch difference between size 2 and 3, and it's supposed to be worn with 0 ease. And for me, I just figured a little bit of ease is probably going to be better than not enough. So I know not enough would be cool because it would really stretch out the lace, but I don't want it fitted in the body. However, there are increases written into the pattern. So it's sort of an A-line shape on the body. And I've heard that a lot of people don't do the increases for the body. So I don't know. I'll see when I come to it. There are 9 sizes, and the bust is from 30.5 inches to 60 inches. And let's see, gauge is 24 inches. So, yeah. This is my Kutar top. There's not very much of it. And Teddy has run off with this yarn a time or two. We have a new system of getting things back from him, like socks and you name it. His latest thing is he goes out into the yard, and I don't know if he's digging up clumps of grass or my dad somehow is doing some gardening or something, but he drags the grass and the dirt through the house. So a lot of vacuuming going on. And anyway, we've figured out how to get stuff away from him that we don't want him to have, because saying drop it doesn't work. No. So I saw that I was, watching YouTube because I'm trying to get this done. So I was sitting in front of my computer like, sit your rear end down and finish this thing. But I saw that Sari Nordland just came out with a Kutar top tutorial on her YouTube channel. Oh, nice. So I started to watch that because it is a little bit involved, I will say, the construction. Just, putting some stitches on hold, and there's an I-cord that goes all the way around the whole yoke, I guess, or the top.
So it's knit with it. It's not an applied I-cord later.
It is, but then on the underarm stitches, so that it looks like the I-cord continues underneath your arm, you graft some I-cord together. So there's some putting stitches on hold and things. So, and then you go back later and do the I-cord straps. So it's, once I get through the lace, and the lace is on the front and the back, obviously I can choose not to do the lace on the back, and that'll speed things up. But this is lace in both directions. So I feel like there's no rest rows. So it is, I'm showing you the wrong side. It is pretty involved. So this really wasn't fitting into my lifestyle very well. So that's why I cast on the laundry top, which is much simpler. So, yeah.
Now, is this the exact same piece of knitted fabric that you talked about in your catch episode?
Yeah, I haven't touched it.
Were you talking about were you talking, I feel like you were talking about ripping it out or something, or no? Was that this?
I thought about it. I mean, I just didn't know.
It's so gorgeous.
I know, it's so beautiful.
And I mean, all the viewers were like, don't rip it out.
I know, I really want the thing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And I did forget to tie this in a knot, and so this slipped out, but I think I picked up all the stitches correctly. And these, there's these little, bouquets of stitches.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, so you wrap the stitches around. She, I don't know what the right word is, but she's inspired by a lace pattern from the Japanese Stitch Bible.
Oh, nice.
So she's adapted it to this pattern. And I think there's a Kutar tee and top and sweater and other Kutar things in her pattern book.
Nice.
Anyway, someday. I don't know if it'll be this summer, to be honest.
Yeah.
So my last hurrah is the Audrey top for summer.
But you could, when you love winter, when you're sitting in front of the fire, you could pull this out, when you can focus, and there's not a million things going on.
Quiet.
Yes.
And I have to say Teddy has started to like just crash underneath the table while we're eating, and he is a little bit more chill than he used to be. So
Nice.
he does definitely want to steal yarn balls still. Yeah. So that is work in progress number 2 of 3. I just have one other quick one.
Okay. I'll try to talk about just some quick ones because I really don't want this video to be insanely long. So I did bring my, let me put these here for a minute. I did bring my Primrose throw, one of my oldest works in progress, with me on my Canada vacation. I was kind of joking, do you think I can finish it while I'm there?
Oh.
This is the Primrose Throw, designed by Arne and Carlos. You know how much we love Arne and Carlos. And if Arne and Carlos don't know that and you know them, please tell them how much we love them.
We love you.
Like, seriously, love them. I just saw more Instagram about their latest cruise, Norway.
Svalbard.
Yes.
Svalbard.
Oh my goodness.
They made a sponge cake with it's like a strawberry whipped cream sponge cake, but the recipe was in Norwegian, which is, you know, they tried to make an American recipe and things didn't translate well.
Right.
But it was funny. They were saying that someone had commented, like, I don't know, that it was Carlos who was being rude and grouchy and blah blah blah. But it was funny. They stopped and Arna said, "I'm Arna, and this is Carlos." So, you know, I guess the person got the names wrong.
Oh, funny.
Because it was Arna who was being rude and whatever, controlling. So anyway, I thought that was funny.
That is funny. But I bought this to do in Canada in the summer of 2020, but of course COVID hit, so we couldn't go. And I did start it that summer at home, and I realize now, I thought it was more, but I did about 75 flowers then, and it needs 525 flowers. The yarn is John Arvin Knit by Numbers, DK, in the previous fiber content. They have since changed their fiber content, and you can only get like barely what's left over in yarn shops now of this older fiber content. I don't even think the new fiber content, I don't even think it's available. Maybe in some minis.
I don't think it's available. It's Blue Face Luster.
Right.
And I think it's just because this is 100% merino, Falklands merino, organic, and it's gorgeous yarn, but it does have, depending on what gauge you're knitting it at, it does pill quite a bit. So I think the Blue Face Luster will help with that.
Yeah.
But however, this is crocheted at such a tight gauge, there will be absolutely no pilling.
That's so funny.
Oh my goodness.
So I am doing, obviously size doesn't matter in this case because it's a throw. So I'm just using the suggested hook. I don't know if it's a suggested hook in the pattern or if it's a suggested hook for the yarn, but a 3.5 millimeter or an E hook. I did complete 19 flowers in Canada.
Oh, wow.
I had to reteach myself how to do it because I am not a crocheter. I had to look at videos before I went there because
You have no Wi-Fi up there.
Yes, actually I did one flower in the Adirondacks the night we slept on the way because once I got up there I was not going to be able to watch a video. So I started knitting them though, and I just reached into my bag because this project stays in a specific bag, and I pulled out this red yarn that was on the top. And I did knitting. I always call it knitting because I'm a knitter. I pulled out this red yarn to use for one of the flowers, and I start like really looking at it, and it doesn't match. It's not the correct red. And I did knit a teeny tiny red scarf last winter, and I thought, did I use the red for the blanket for that and then buy the wrong color? So I had there's pictures on my Instagram you can see of the wrong color red with this. And a lot of people were like, oh, just leave it. But I'm taking so long making this. I had just put that flower on. So I thought, no, I'm not going to. So then I started searching. While I'm in Canada, I have to stand in one corner of the deck to get internet, Wi-Fi, or not Wi-Fi, there's no Wi-Fi, internet, cell service. And I'm searching yarn shops everywhere to try to find this. What I needed, you know, Knit by Numbers is the pure color. So this is 19, the red number 19, and that's the pure color. And then as the numbers go up, 20 has a little more white in it. And then 21 has a little more white. And 22 has a little more white. And I can't remember, maybe 6 variations or 6 grades or 5 grades.
Yeah.
So the one I needed was 20. So it's a little heathery. And I didn't dig in my bag, and I thought I didn't have the correct color. So I'm searching all over. You cannot find this yarn. You don't even know this story. I found one hank of the yarn in a store in Finland. The website isn't even in English.
Oh, no.
There's no option. So I emailed them. It's called, we're going to have to take a little break here. We're going to run out of time. But it's called Nurja, Nurja. And thank you, Johanna and Evelina, who answered my emails.
Wow.
And they immediately said, yes, we ship to the U.S. And since I did all this, I did find my ball of yarn in the bottom of my bag. But I'm going to order the John Arbon anyway because I love that yarn. And it's a beautiful color. But then I said, well, since I'm going to place an order in Finland, I did a Jonna. What yarn do you have in your shop, Finnish yarn, that I can't get anywhere else?
Oh, wow.
And so she told me a few options, and I said, and what Finnish designers can you recommend? So she recommended a couple of designers. She recommended a specific book, and I do have it here. And I actually ordered this from the Woolly Thistle, and I haven't even honestly looked through it yet, and it's in English. Do they? I didn't know.
Line of Publishing.
Yeah, and the book is Knitted Kalevala by Jonna Kostit, and it's in English, so everything in there is gorgeous. So I did order the book, but I also found another pattern, which I don't even remember what it is. You'll hear about this later. And when I get the yarn, I will show it to you. I don't remember what the yarn's called, but I ended up ordering one of each color in this yarn. And I picked out a mitten and a hat pattern that I want to knit in this Finnish yarn. And the design is from a Finnish designer. So again, thank you so much. From the Nurja shop in Finland, Johanna and Evelina. And they have, I think they have a YouTube channel, and they definitely do Instagram lives, but they're all in Finnish. So I watch them, and they're beautiful, and just the knitting is gorgeous. I don't understand a word they say.
The Finnish language is very unique in that way.
Yeah, it's not Germanic at all, so I can't understand them. But anyway, so that's exciting. You'll hear more about that eventually. And as I said, I did work on this, so I do plan on doing a few flowers. I would love to be able to do like one a day, but we'll see. Maybe 7 a week, and so eventually that will get finished. I love my Primrose throw.
It will.
And
maybe by the time your car gets repaired.
Yes, my car is still not fixed. I drive a flower beetle, if you're a new viewer, and it's been out of commission for a year, and I'm just kind of over it now, but I want my flower beetle, so we shall see. Anyway, so I'm just going to do another quick, it's not really a work in progress, it's a swatch. But next month, well, actually this month now, this will air on Friday, September 1st, next week. And my husband and I are going to Nova Scotia for our 20th wedding anniversary, and we're going to stay in Lunenburg. We went to Nova Scotia for part of our honeymoon, and we love it. So I'm so excited to go to the yarn shop in Lunenburg, which I have not ever been to, called Mariner's Daughter. And hopefully I can meet some viewers there. I'm definitely going to contact Rachel, who's been offered to work on my frog. So hopefully I can see her when I'm there. But I purchased yarn for the Lunenburg almost 2 years ago. And I got Green Mountain Spinnery yarn, Lana, Green Mountain Spinnery Lana. And these are the colors I got. I wanted to knit one because Jonna has a beautiful Lunenburg, which she never wears.
I don't.
But these are the colors I got. They're somewhat similar to yours, aren't they?
Very.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. So being a project knitter, I knit one thing at a time, so I always have to swatch as I'm working on a project. So I swatched, and I did an in the round swatch, so it looks like a sleeve. I was trying to fudge it and not, but now that I've really started swatching, 2021 was my year of the swatch. Before that, I really didn't swatch. But before that, I really didn't knit adult garments for myself. I only knitted baby things, and I would make them big because the baby can wear them oversized and then, you know, wear them a little while till they grow out of them. So I tried to fudge it and not do an in the round swatch, but I decided, nope, I want it to fit. You probably know this. The Lunenburg is a pattern by Amy Christoffers or Christoffers.
I think it's Christoffers.
AKA Savory Knitting. And my main color is Boraska, and my contrast colors are Ancho, Rosada, Bahia, and Blanco. And I did swatch in the round with suggested US 5. And I just measure it. Obviously, it's not blocked. I measure it and see how close I am. And I realized, nope, I'll go up to a 6, and then I'll go up to a 7, and I ended up going up to an 8.
Oh, wow.
The 8's probably too loose, but I'm also just looking at what fabric I like. And I did block it, but I have not measured it yet.
It's beautiful.
I wanted to finish it before we went.
Just
but
beautiful.
I just
it's
don't.
very similar to this color.
Yeah, it is.
It's so pretty.
All the different colors in it. It's really gorgeous. Yeah. So it probably won't be finished in 3 weeks by the time we leave and go to Lunenburg.
That color was pretty addictive. It was pretty fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So maybe I can knit it on the way there, and then knit there, and then wear it unblocked at least one day when I'm there. We'll be there 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I should finish it if I'm exclusively knitting on it, right?
Yes.
So that's my Lunenburg, and I'm really, really, really excited about it.
It's going to be gorgeous.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Me and my big table.
Why did I turn that over again? So silly. Sorry, I was talking about, we have a, if you're a new viewer, newish viewer, the camera we have is not an actual video camera. It's a DSLR, and because it's not a video camera, you can record videos, but you have a 20-minute limit. Jonna knows the whole reason why. You can go back and watch our videos from the beginning.
Financial reason.
Exactly. So you can hear why.
Export and import. Yeah.
But you can record back to back to back to back 20-minute videos, but 20 minutes is the limit, and it will turn off. So we have a sand timer
that we sometimes look at.
And sometimes we don't, and then it just shuts off. And so, yeah. Again, we're amateurs. We do our best.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, I'm going to lean over here. So I have one more new whip. Everyone knows I have some languishing whips, which I will discuss shortly. But not everyone, many viewers, many people commented about the DRK Everyday socks. So I decided to cast on a new pair of socks. I do have a pair of socks that is just like minus one toe that I don't really need to finish that I've talked about. I got yarn at Wool & Folk last year. Really cute stripy socks. But I decided that my husband needs a pair of socks. So in the wintertime, we have an old house and it's drafty, and he always wears wool socks during the winter. He stands at his desk. He has one of those standing desks. So he's always got wool socks on, and he's got these wool clogs that he loves. So anyway, I cast on the DRK Everyday socks, and these are knit on a US size 1, and this pattern comes in a bunch of sizes. I want to say like 11 sizes. Yeah, 11 sizes, baby to men's large. And so I'm making the men's medium. I measured his foot. I had him like stand on a piece of paper and measured. And I have this yarn in stash, which is one of my favorite sock yarns. It's by Regia. It's premium merino yak. And it's got a little bit of yak in it, like 14%. It's mostly wool, a little bit of polyamide. But I just love the way it feels. It's just not rustic, but it feels rustic. And I love the colors. It's very heathered because of the yak content. So anyway, beautiful yarn, beautiful colors. I've used it before. And yeah, not really much to say about this. So I haven't even checked my gauge or anything. It is a toe up sock. So I use the Turkish cast on. And I watched Andrea Mowry's video, and it's great. However, she must be left-handed or something, because everything came out like upside down and backwards, and I couldn't make heads or tails of it. And I did it correctly, so I did it like 5 times. And then I just, looked for another video, and this person did it with the needles pointing this way. And I think Andrea did it with the needles pointing this way. I'm not sure. Maybe I've got that backwards. But however, it went for the second try. It worked fine. So I was... I felt like I texted you. I'm like, my magic loop is upside down, and everything seems backwards and inside out, and something's wrong, and I can't figure it out. I don't think anything was wrong. I think it's just not the way I normally magic loop. So anyway, so yeah, I did the Turkish cast on, and yeah, it turned out perfectly. It was really pretty.
They're beautiful.
So do increases, and then it's 2x2 rib all the way around. And I've heard people say that, 2x2 rib on the bottom of the foot is gonna feel weird, but I don't think so.
No.
I think enough people have made these socks, and I haven't seen any comments of that kind. So,
rib tends to stretch out and open up, but
so it's
not like a cable on the bottom.
Right, exactly, and so it'll be flat.
Right.
So this is my purse project. So
Nice.
this just stays in the car. So
Cool.
car knitting and doctor's office knitting and that kind of thing, hanging out with my dad. So my purse project. So I feel like organized. In my catch episode, I felt like I wasn't organized. Like I didn't have a purse project and I didn't have a mindless like social knitting project and I didn't have a more complicated project. Like that's for me. You know, I have different projects for different situations, whereas, you know, you have one project. And what happens when you have a project that isn't conducive to social knitting or
I realize
car
that's the exception, that I will have something that stays home. I mean, I'm sure as this crochet blanket gets bigger and bigger, I'm not gonna take. I mean, I really don't take it out of the house anyway. So it's two, because the first round is the first center, and the first two rounds are one color. The third round is another color, and then the fourth round is where you attach it. So you can't just make a bunch of flowers.
Right.
You have to already decide on the third round where you're going to attach it. So you have to have the blanket with you.
Right.
So I could make a bunch of centers, I guess. I don't know. I did want to say, crocheting is not relaxing for me. That's another reason I didn't crochet more in Canada. It wasn't relaxing. I felt like...
It doesn't seem like it because that is bulletproof. It's super tight.
Yeah, I guess I'm a tight crocheter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tight crocheter.
I mentioned my languishing whips, and you heard it here first. I'm going to finish. I'm not going to cast on anything new. So I'm done casting on. I'm not going to buy any more yarn. I did buy one thing. I'll talk about it in a little bit. But I'm not going to start my fall knits until I have finished my academic,
Wow.
my Letho, and my Dahlia sweater. And I'm kind of glad I haven't finished the Dahlia sweater because I think I'm going to modify the sleeves. So I'm glad that I didn't do that. But I don't know. I'm feeling inspired to finish those things, which is nice. You know, it's kind of like fitting into my my lifestyle. So I'm excited to finish those. So I'm not going to start anything new until September.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, October. I'm going to have to take September to finish up some whips.
Right.
Clear off my needles, fresh start, all the yarn festivals, and then we'll be buying yarn. And
I'm sure the viewers will love to see those finished objects, and so will I.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I mean, I really would love to cast this on, but I'm not going to.
Well, that can be your first
I know.
After
Hold me accountable.
whip fall project,
Yeah.
right?
So I'll probably finish the Audrey top, and I probably will not finish the Q-tar top, and the sock will just hang out in the car. So those are my new whips.
Nice.
But yeah. I need to finish the Ankers jacket for my granddaughter who lives in Texas, that bigger one. And my granny square blanket is just one of those by the bed kind of things.
Yeah.
So that's a long
Square by square, that will get done.
long-term project. So yeah.
Okay. I just realized I shouldn't have started another row.
Uh-oh.
Just so you could see it. But many people will recognize this. This is the Papillon shawl by Marin Melchior, aka MarinJaKnits. Unfortunately, like I said, I started right there. I started a new row. So, my mom loves shawls. I've knit a couple of shawls for my mom. One of them, her cat got to, and I'm still. She gave it to me like last year to fix the hole, and it was a really complicated, lot of short rows. It's still in my closet. I haven't fixed it. So I haven't knit her a shawl recently, but she just had her birthday. So last week on her birthday, I had 2 bunches of yarn to make her shawls, 2 different shawls, and I brought them into the kitchen. I said, for your birthday, I'm going to cast on a shawl for you. So I showed her both. She wants both, and I will knit both. The other one is the Sotto Il Sole, also from Joji Locatelli, the second design that she created for our retreat. And I got the yarn in the exact same color as her main sample. I don't have it here today, but I will do that after. But I did cast this on that night, my mom's birthday, and started it. And I had bought this yarn 2 years ago. And so I purchased this yarn, and I saw the receipt. The receipt said knit this purl that in Livermore, California. I don't even know if that shop is still there. I tried to look them up online. Mainly because I wanted to tag them in my project, but I couldn't find them on Instagram or anything. So if you know their contact or anything, let me know. But this is the yarn, one of the yarns it was designed for, which is Earth Yarns Unique, and it's a color changing yarn. And so this is all one yarn. It just changes by itself. I started up here and I'm going this way.
But it's weird because it seems very symmetrical.
It does, right?
Yes, it doesn't. I mean, you're not having random color changes.
I mean, a little bit, but I still love it.
Oh my goodness.
You can do this with all different yarn colors. I think it's a 5 or 6 color version. But then, of course, you have, Jonna asked me about yarn ends, and I really don't have many. And you cast on, 15 stitches, and you start here, and there's an increase. The increases, it just says make one, and somewhere in the directions it says you can do a make one left or a make one right. You can do your favorite make one. I did do my make ones pointing away from the center line. And then, what else? There's spots, most of it is like 2 rows along the edge, but there are some places where the color spans more than 2 rows, and she suggests you carry the contrast yarn with it. And I did that for a few sections. It was just hard to keep the tension correct. So one night when I couldn't sleep at night, I did a Jonna and I went and looked at Ravelry projects and read some things in there. And
helpful, right?
yes. I always do it after I start. She does it before. She's a planner. I do it after. And some people didn't carry the yarn along, so I now recently have not done that. So I do have a few ends, but she still asked, where are all your ends? And I say, well, I just weave them in immediately.
Well, and I didn't know that it was color changing yarn. It's just so symmetrical.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. It is very symmetrical.
Yeah.
So what else? One thing I learned from reading the comments after I was in the middle of the second section, there's 3 main sections, and I was in the middle of the second section, and it's all short rows, and they're wrap and turns. And I didn't want to go through the whole thing converting to German short rows, so I did wrap and turns. And I always know you pick up the wrap on the way back. So the whole first section and a half, I was picking up the wraps. But it doesn't tell you to in the pattern, which I thought was strange. It doesn't tell you not to, and it doesn't tell you to. I think she should add that in her pattern. No need to pick up the wraps. Because then I read on a lot of people's comments, or maybe it was comments on people's posts, you don't have to pick up the wraps. Maybe that was on the project page. That's where it was. Oh. It was on her Ravelry group page. In garter stitch, you don't have to pick up the wraps. Did you? I texted you. I did not know that. I thought you picked up the wraps to help close up the hole, but no, you pick up the wraps because normally on stockinette stitch you don't want the bar. The wrap creates a bar, so you don't want the bar. But in garter stitch, it's all bars.
Right.
So it gets hidden.
Nice.
I do have to say though that it's tighter when I picked up the wrap. It just seems a little snugger, those short rows. And in where I just stopped right there, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to stop in the middle of the second section. And I stopped picking up the wraps. So much easier and faster. And it is what it is. And it just, the short rows look a little more open. No big deal. I really don't
have
care.
to mark where they are.
Nope, don't have to mark where they are.
Remember to pick them up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing about this shawl, oh gosh, a twisty mess.
Please help me.
Help, Jonna.
Go ahead. Sorry. I
No. The shawl is really designed with no finishing edge. The raw edge along the top.
No,
and then and the raw edge just to bind off around the V, the point part. A lot of people, I think more maybe when they knitted multiple, they add an I-cord, knit with it like 3 stitches on each end, and add that. Maybe if I knit another one, I would. I don't know. I'm just probably going to leave the raw edge. That's how the designer designed it, and I think it's fine. We'll see how it blocks out. I did leave my yarn tails for where I wove them in long, because I'm assuming because it's superwash, it's going to stretch a bit. You know, superwash grows.
Yep.
It actually looks small to me right now, but again, it's superwash, so I'm assuming it will grow. By the way, the black yarn is Charlemont Valley Yarns, which I think is specially made for webs. And it's also a superwash. But anyway,
Just
it's gorgeous. My mom loves it. My mom loves nature. She loves butterflies. Papillon obviously means butterfly in French. But it's maybe in other languages too, Spanish and everything.
It looks like a stained glass window.
It does. It's just so gorgeous.
It is.
And it's really fun and easy to knit. The pattern looks, when you first look at it, really confusing. But she says in the instructions, you know, if you're one of those knitters who reads the whole pattern, which you should do typically, you might not want to do it for this one because at first glance it looks really, really, really confusing.
And it looks like color work, but it's not color work.
No, it's all garter stitch. It's
Right.
all knit. The entire thing is knits and make ones. That's it. Knits and make ones. I don't have, inside the pattern, a lot of these little shapes are all this variation, all red. The red square, the orange square, the green square, and the blue square. So in the pattern, she'll have some instructions and she'll say, do a red square. And so she did suggest you cut this out of the pattern and keep it with your notes. And a lot of people don't like it because it's a lot of counting. It's a lot of keeping track. But I love it because every single row is different. It's so interesting.
Right, because garter stitch can get
You
boring.
mentioned that recently about a color changing yarn. It's so fun to knit it because
It is. Oh,
is it the
long
anchor?
yarns Frida.
Yeah,
anchor sweater.
because you just can't wait to see
Yeah,
what's
the
coming
next
next.
color.
And so
Yeah.
it's really been fun. I just started it a week ago,
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm on the last section.
Were you able to knit when you were sick?
Yes,
Okay, that's good.
I was not as sick as my husband.
Okay.
He literally did not get out of bed for 5 days,
Wow.
or 4 days, I guess. But I love it. I even love how the back looks. You know what it reminds me of? The Starry, Starry Night painting. That kind of style.
Van Gogh.
Is that what it's called? Starry Night?
Night.
Yeah. Like I even think the back where you can see the
ridges.
yes.
Mhm.
I mean,
The
you can
color
see
changes.
The color changes.
Yeah.
Yes. I just think it's so.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So
Lucky mom.
I know I should finish this. Maybe this week. We'll see. I'll be editing. So.
If the socks I'm making for my husband are too big, I'll give them to my dad.
Oh, there you go.
My
I'm
dad
sure your
makes
dad
some
would
socks.
love them.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So that's it for my works in progress
Okay.
acquisitions.
So I talked about this a little bit in my catch episode. Is I'm having this I don't know. I cannot stop thinking about this beautiful sort of ribbed sweater that Inga from Knitting Traditions made. It's made out of this Rauma linen blend yarn. It's gorgeous. And of course, you know, she looks stunning in it. So I look it up on the Rauma website, and it's a free download. It's a free pattern, which I didn't know until one of our viewers told me, because I couldn't read. I didn't translate the page. So I was just thinking, oh, you have to buy the yarn to get the pattern. I'm not going to be able to do it. They don't ship to the U.S., so why bother? So little did I know that it was a free download. And if you download it with Chrome using Google, I knew that you would use Google Translate, but you can actually translate a whole PDF.
Because it's already in. It's only in Norwegian.
It's
or
only
something.
in Norwegian.
Norwegian.
Yeah. So this pattern didn't come in English. So I thank you to whoever recommended I do that. So I downloaded it and I used the Google Translate, and the numbers are a little bit off center of the page, but that's easy. I can just download the Norwegian version and put the numbers in. So it's fine. Anyway, the name of the sweater is Earl's Kosegenser. And it's got some big sleeves, like balloon sleeves. It's very simple. It's just ribbed, kind of a wide neckline, and then the rib continues in the body, and it just, the body ends just with ribbing. Like there's not extra ribbing. It just ends. And I just thought it was beautiful. So I thought that I was going to have to make some other kind of rib sweater because I couldn't download that pattern. So I started looking at rib sweaters, and I saw the Vertical Stripes sweater by Petite Knit, and that is also gorgeous. And Felicia here made it. So I held it up. I would like it a little bit more oversized. Hers is really heavy. She made hers out of Sandusgarn tin. No, not the tin, the Lena. So it's pretty heavy.
Held with mohair.
Yeah, it's cotton and held with mohair, of course, because everything she makes
Has
has mohair
mohair.
in it. But it's a beautiful, just classic, basic 4x4 rib sweater. So that is a contender. And then, and this is my favorite thing, it's a Danish, new to me, Danish designer. And there's some Korean aspect of there. I should have done some more research, but I'm not sure what that is. It's a mother and daughter team, and the design name is KNITS. AEGYO knit. KNIT. I don't know. Something like that.
That's okay.
And I heard about them from Hella of Danish Musings. And, you know, it reminds me a little bit of my favorite things, knitwear, just oversized, comfortable, classic, usually one color, usually white or beige, you know. Right up my alley.
Jonna's favorite thing.
So there's another sweater by KNIT named Hyun. And that is a Korean name. I don't know if it's a masculine or feminine name, but Hyun, HYUN, and it's another just stunner of a ribbed sweater.
Mm.
So I bought yarn to make one of those. And guess what? It's taupe. No.
I love it. It's great. Grayish taupe. Yeah.
It's a grayish taupe.
I love it.
I think this is the same color mohair that I used in my Mannequins.
Yep, it looks like it.
So, and this is the yarn, one of the yarns suggested in the pattern, which is the Marilyn. Now, she's German, Isair. Is that Marilyn?
Yeah.
I thought it was Merlin, like the wizard, but it's not.
There is an extra I in there.
It's Marilyn. And it's 80% wool and 20% flax, 50 grams, 208 meters. So it's definitely fingering, light fingering. So I want something basic.
Mm-hmm.
I decided, you know, because I'm a process knitter, I see sweaters, I see beautiful, complex colorwork sweaters, and that's just not, you know, it doesn't make me feel comfortable in my own skin. Kind of like this red sweater. I wasn't sure if I was going to feel comfortable in it. I think I do, though.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I didn't know what color bra to wear. I wore a black bra. I didn't know. I just asked my husband. So my days of having red bras are way over. I don't think I even, I'm the person who has like the white, the beige, and the black.
It looks gorgeous.
So I bought that, and I'm excited to cast on whatever rib sweater I decide. But
did you buy that here?
Uh-huh.
That looks like a pick up every stitch bag.
Yes, it is. Maybe it is it will be the vertical stripe sweater though for our petite knit along.
Nice, perfect. So you already have your yarn.
I do. So
Great.
It'll be one of those three. Yeah, that was my acquisition, and my favorite thing was KNIT. So I'll link them below.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I have a couple things, but I'm just going to, again, go through it fast because I really don't want this to be too long.
Yeah.
So I ordered this. As we've mentioned, we have an affiliate link. We are affiliates for Twice Sheared Sheep, and they do basically knitting notions. They do have a yarn. I don't know if they have multiple yarns. Do you know?
No, I think this is
their yarn
first.
So we love their row counters, their cable locks. We talk about a lot of their things. So if you want to get any of these things, you can use our affiliate link, which is in the show notes. But I wanted to try out their yarn. So I found this kit on their website, and it's called the Thea Bag Kit. The designer is Sarah Korth. And you can obviously, it's a crochet bag. So granny squares, because granny squares are having
a moment.
Having a moment. That's what she
Yes.
says. So I picked these colors. I'm worried now that these two dark colors are too close to each other, but they're not.
Yeah.
In this light, it's better. I may crochet this bag myself, or I may have my mom crochet it, and then I will assemble it because the kit also came with handles for the bag. And another thing, I think it also came with the pattern, but I could not figure out how to access it, so I just bought the pattern. I just figure I'm supporting somebody. You know, it's a couple dollars. So I decided to buy the pattern. But I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure there was a way to get it. I was too impatient. But so that's one of my acquisitions, which I'm so excited about. So I won't be starting it anytime soon, but I did want to show that because I actually got it in the mail 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And all the granny squares are all different, it looks like. Are they different?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's granny squares and flower squares.
And then just some plain. Cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So I'll probably insert a picture. That's why I'm not holding up the pattern, because you won't be able to see it anyway. Another acquisition, besides that knitted Kalevala book that I got from Woolly Thistle, I had mentioned my favorite thing in episode 20 was a design by my lovely friend, now she's my friend, Marina Storm. We met in Italy. But anyway, so I love her. She's such a light and just a sweet, wonderful person and a lovely designer. She's a newish designer. So when I was in Italy, she was wearing this Triana cardigan. And I have to say from the picture, I probably wouldn't have wanted to knit it, but she was wearing it. And it's so lovely and airy and light for the summer. I have not knit anything for the summer. I did a lot of summer knits last summer, but nothing this summer. So I contacted Karen and Felicia here at Pick Up Every Stitch, and I decided to use Sunless Garn Tin Lina and white. I just want a simple white thing. And I'm gonna, like a cardigan, I can just throw over, even over a bathing suit or over a blouse or over a t-shirt, a tank top, and I might try to put sleeves on it though, like just straight sleeves. I used to have a sweater like this, and I wore it so much it disintegrated. I didn't knit it. It was a store-bought sweater. But anyway, so I'm really excited about that. So I'm going to squeeze that in my queue. I also bought, I guess I'll talk about this one first. I didn't buy this. I was gifted this, and I don't think you know about this either. So Marion from Willow's Knits, the German podcast that I love, contacted me because Bärbel Salette, a German designer, had written a book about colorwork shawls. I mean, look at the cover. It's gorgeous. And it was originally in German, and she was just publishing an English version. And she said, if Bärbel sent you the book, would you want to like read it and look at it and talk about it? And so I read this on vacation. And I read the main pattern. There's a bunch of shawls in here. They're somewhat similar, just the motif is different. And she wrote for Kim, enjoy reading and knitting, and I hope you like my book.
Aww,
and the designs are just gorgeous. It's all stranded colorwork. I read through all the opening, the intro. Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Just lovely. Just gorgeous. And so I read through all of the opening sections. I haven't knit a lot of shawls, so a lot of the techniques I read it and I'm like, I don't know if I could ever knit this. I would love to, and I might when I finish the other 2 shawls for my mom. I'm probably going to give one a try, but I'm probably going to have to contact Bärbel and ask for help. And I have to say the English translation, it isn't quite as natural as I'm sure in German, I mostly understand it. And also just German patterns are written differently also. I mean, when I used to live in Austria and I had German language patterns, I mean, bare minimum, bare basics. There's more. They're not bare minimum basics in this book, but there's so many techniques. All the techniques are explained, how to pick your colors. I mean, it's just a lovely book. So if you like to knit stranded colorwork and you like shawls.
And it looks like they're knit in the round and you steek them.
They are
so
knit in the round.
Knitting
just the very beginning isn't, and then you do cast on a steek. And I forgot to say that. But they're just beautiful. I mean, just beautiful shawls. And so definitely, and if anybody else wants to buy the book and knit one, maybe we could knit it together. We're not going to do a knit along, but I would definitely love like a knitting buddy knitting it because it's complicated. I mean, honestly, it really is. So, I mean, the basic center, not, but when you do the edge and everything, I was having a hard time understanding it. But not because it's not written well, but because I just don't know a lot of those techniques. Yeah, I just don't know a lot of those techniques. But it's a beautiful book. So thank you so much, Bärbel, for sending me the book. I absolutely love it, and I can't wait to pick out yarn and knit one of the shawls. I definitely will. One more thing that really wasn't an acquisition, but before I went on vacation, I came in here to buy the buttons for the baby sweater. And Emily, who works here, was here, and she said, oh my goodness, have you read Patty Lyon's book? And I was like, no. And she had it. She said, you have to take it. You have to read it. She loaned me her book. This is not her book because, oh wait, this is her book, but it got wet in Canada, so I bought a new one for her. literally one day I took it with me out on the paddleboard, and I was laying on the paddleboard and reading it. It was fun. But I read this book and I learned so much already, and I knew, even though it didn't get wet, I wanted one because there's so many things from Patty Lyon's Knitting Bag of Tricks. Some of them I already did. But so many things that next time I do that skill or that stitch or that thing, I'm going to go back. I want to keep this this in my bag so that I can use it, pull it out and use it.
I want to read it too now.
Oh, here, you can. I literally read it from cover to cover. The only thing I didn't, like if she introduced a certain thing and then she used it in different variations, I didn't read all the variations. I just read the first beginning of it. But it is brilliant. So definitely get that book. And one last thing, my favorite thing is, this is a funny story, is this bag. Do you want to tell the story of the bag?
So I was in Connecticut and I got in my car, I checked my Instagram, which is not like me, I'm not even sure why, and Pick Up Every Stitch they got some new bags in the store, so they posted a bunch of the bags. I saw this and I took a screenshot and I circled it and I sent it to Felicia and I said, I want this bag. She said, oh, Kim already called and put it in the back. And I was like, well, that's perfect because this is her birthday present, so I'm going to come down and get it. And were you sick?
I was homesick, and I saw the same Instagram post and immediately screenshotted it and cropped it in and sent it to Karen and Felicia. And I said, I want this bag. Can you please hold it for me if it's not gone already? I just wanted to buy it for myself. I mean, it just screams Kim.
Yes, it does.
But at the same time, a few seconds later, Jonna contacted them. Right? And they said, yeah, Kim just put it on hold. So I'm sick and she's bringing me soup. And one day she says, oh, I'm dropping something off. And I assumed
well, because I hadn't gotten you a birthday present. Her birthday was in May. And I'm the same way with birthday gifts. Like I need to find that perfect thing or be inspired or, you know. So, I didn't want to just buy you a gift certificate or some random yarn or, you know.
It was just crazy that we were in two different places. We saw the same post.
We both screenshotted it.
It. Yeah, it was crazy. It was so perfect.
It looks just like your car.
Yeah. So she said, I'm dropping something off at your house last week, and I just thought it was more soup, which, yay. And I go out and it's a Pick Up Every Stitch bag, and I'm like, what the heck? Like a shopping bag. And I open it, and the bag couldn't have been like an hour later. The bag is on my front doorstep.
And then I sent her a screenshot of the conversation I had with Felicia.
That's best friends for you, right?
Well, it's you.
We just know each other so well.
So pretty.
Yeah,
it's
really
is. Pretty red.
It's beautiful. So it's a 65 South bag, and they have a whole bunch of. The bags here are gorgeous. So, if you need a knitting bag, this is your place.
Speaking of bags, and I know we had this in a previous video, but with my red sweater, I was like, oh, I think I need.
And
this.
your black shoes, and
my
your
black shoes,
and your black bra,
and my black bra, and my white pants. I'm like, oh.
You need that because you have the pink version of that, right?
I do, but it's
similar.
More of like an everyday bag.
Right.
Actually, the strap is broken, so I need to fix it. But this is a nice evening bag.
It's gorgeous. I love it so much.
You don't need this at all.
Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful.
But anyway.
So I think that's it. Thank you so much for the bag.
You're welcome. Happy birthday.
Oh my goodness. It was such a funny thing. It really made me laugh in the middle of my sick days.
Yeah.
It was so nice. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh, I can't. I hope the sound was better this time. And if not, we still have some other things. You did buy lavalier, how do you call them? Lavalier mics?
Lavalier. They're wireless microphones that you wear, but I bought those for our trip to our I-91 shop hop that we didn't go on. But I think they'll be great for ride back. So if we do any like kind of just candid iPhone gimbal kind of things.
Yeah.
They reduce the noise, and they came recommended for my son-in-law. So
yeah,
I'm anxious to try those out. So I guess if this doesn't work, we can try those here also. But I don't know how they work Bluetooth with the camera. I think
then you have to sync though or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Hopefully, well, I'm assuming that this is going to work because you sent me that test video.
Yeah, I made a test video yesterday.
Yeah, explaining all the ins and outs of the audio. So I think it'll be fine. Fingers crossed.
But I think that's it. So definitely look out for our mini-sode in September about our fall knitting plans and our petite knit KAL. Yay, that'll be so fun. Very relaxed, low-key KAL.
Oh yeah.
And it'll be a longer KAL, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But start picking out your yarn and your patterns. And so don't forget to comment on the video, please. We love your comments. Like the video, subscribe, share.
We're about to hit.
We are. We're like 100 away from
15,000
subscribers.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to do a giveaway when that
pretty amazing.
happens.
I can't even believe we said that. It's like 15,000. Wait a minute. What kind of alternate reality is this?
I know. It's so funny.
We're grateful.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
And
we'll see you next time.
Yep.
Bye.
And that again is someone's knocking on the door. A delivery.
Oh, it looks like UPS or something.
I'm so sweaty already. And the AC is on. Oh well. It is what it is. The door is really squeaky too, so we'll wait a second.
I don't even know where I was. So delicate.
Yeah, I guess. Use them in the. Ready?